Guys, I don't have an intro this week. All my free time has gone into trying to figure out a mystery from this last week that has just boggled my mind. I've done as much research as I can. I've gone through every database I can find on the internet. I've called in as many high-level government favors as I can for my position, and nothing's come back yet. It just doesn't seem like we'll ever figure out what's going on. Oh, hold on a second. Yes, sir, how are you? Please tell me you have good news for me. What? What do you mean you don't know? How could you? Who else would be able to figure it out? Jeez. All right. Well, thanks, Obama. What are you good for, even? Okay. No, no, sir. I apologize. I appreciate the effort. Um, yes, of course. Yes, we're still on for golf next week. Next Wednesday afternoon. Right. Tea time at 2. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Tell Michelle I say hi and best to the kids. Well, guys, that was our last hope. It appears that we will never figure out who caught that touchdown pass for the Eagles last week. But what we can figure out is what happened in week 6 of the Marchwood Sadness Fantasy Football League, and I'm here to help you out with that. This is going to be a little bit of a quicker video. I've got some more work to finish up tonight, so we're going to go through everybody just a little bit fast. As always, we're going to start off with our top players of the week, and this is actually a pretty interesting week for top players, as you'll see why. The top quarterbacks were Matt Ryan and Deshaun Watson, both just a hair over 60 points, and both owned by Ryan. Unfortunately, he couldn't play both at the same time, but fortunately, he didn't need to. The top two running backs were both owned by me. Derrick Henry went crazy and got 40 points, and Kenyon Drake learned how to play football and got 28, which was fantastic because he was sitting on my bench. Wide receivers, still another good week. Dave got almost 40 points out of Justin Jefferson, purely in garbage time because the Vikings are terrible. And Randall believed in Julio coming back and was rewarded with 33 points and a few touchdowns. Tight ends, I double-checked this a couple times, and this is correct. The top tight end was Anthony Firkser of the Titans, apparently, who got almost 30 points. And number 2 was Kittle, because, of course, it was for Steve, who got 24 points. Speaking of Steve, the top flex option was DeAndre Swift, who Steve played and got 28 points out of course. Next top flex was Ronald Jones, which got Tom 26 points on his bench. Top defenses was the Bucks with 20, which is on waivers, and would you believe it, Steve got 19 out of the Steelers. The top two kickers, McManus and Younghoe Koo, got 24 and 20 respectively. They were both on waivers, and I feel like I just have to point it out. Steve had the third highest kicker. Doesn't matter, but he still did. Looking at our rankings, Steve still leads the way with 11 top players. Bit of a mishmash for the next couple spots, and then 5 of us, including Ryan and I, we've done better, are all tied for, that would be 5th place with 4 people. So Ryan and I actually we made a nice jump this week. It paid off for him. It did not pay off for me. Our waiver percentage is still not very good, and we still have people on the bench, so we still all suck at this. But let's get into the matchups now. All right, so we are going to, as always, well, not as always, we did last week, but this week we're going to go from worst to first. And so leading us at worst is Nate again. Nate still has yet to win a game. Maybe it's only week 6, so maybe he can win like 2 by the end of the year. Who knows? On the plus side, Nate, you got your wide receivers right this week. Too bad they were all pretty bad, so it didn't even matter. You picked the wrong quarterback there, pal. The Lions won 34-16, but Minshew outscored Stafford 34-27. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I didn't bother to try to figure it out, but you messed that one up there a little bit. Seems like Madison was a waste of a waiver wire pick. He was supposed to do great, except he plays for the Vikings and Kirk Cousins, so that was a problem there. Odell also came back down to earth like Odell, victim of terrible quarterback play again because Baker also sucks. So good luck, Nate. Hopefully you can rebound a little bit. Let's move over to number 2, which would also be number 9, which is Arias. Now, Arias really went for it this week. He got the name, he got the players, all to try and get in Neil's head, and none of it worked. Um, Unfortunately, the only thing discounted on his team was Aaron Rodgers' play as quarterback. Um, for for being at the first week that Arias slotted him in over Lamar, it turned out to be the worst mistake he's probably made all season, um, which was a net loss of I don't want to do this math 28, actually exactly 28 points, which would have easily won him the game. Actually, not easily, barely won him the game, but it would have won him the game. Um, Singletary, let's talk about him for a second. Kansas City, much to my dismay, ran for 200 plus yards, and Singletary ran for 32. So that was the thing. Also getting killed on the running back front. Kenyon Drake learned how to be good at football somehow and ran for 164 yards, while Chase Edmonds ran for like none. I didn't bother to check, and also screwed over Arias. So it was it was a rough day there. Looking at Arias's bench, hopefully he can be saved by Le'Veon Bell. Who knows? Maybe they had what's it? Oh yeah, do everything your dog wants because you're going to put him down day for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Bell takes over. But who knows? If not, Arias is going to continue to be bad. Coming in next on our list is me, and yep, hold on, forgot to get this ready. All right, the shame, the hat of shame this week goes to me because I did everything in my power to lose this match, and damn if I didn't. Um, Despite getting 40 out of Derrick Henry, it didn't matter. I benched Drake because he got 60. He went 18 for 60 against the Jets, against the freaking Jets, and then he comes out and scores 28 points, and I just, of course, um, I benched all my good receivers. Debo, Terry, all did better than my starters. And of course, if I hadn't switched tight ends for the first time all season, I also would have won. Um, so that was great. This pretty again, everything I did possibly to shoot myself in the foot succeeded. Steve must have somehow used his magical mind powers to get in my head, and it worked. Um, Coming up on Monday night, I needed Mahomes to have a pretty darn good game to bring me in it, and he had his worst game of the season. So everything is looking up for me. Of course. Let's keep moving on to Dave here. Dave is had the unfortunate chance of running into the Goliath that is Ryan this week, and rightly so, got demolished by almost 40 points. David's going to be a little bit of trouble. It looks like Sanders is going to be out for 1 or 2 weeks probably because we have a Thursday night game. So he won't be able to, unfortunately, do nothing for the entire game and then rip off a 75-yard run to keep you in it. I didn't watch the Rams game, but I think if I heard right, Cooper Kupp dropped 1 or 2 touchdowns or a bunch of balls and just essentially looked like he forgot how to play wide receiver there. Um, so that's unfortunate. You did. I like the move to pick up Jason Sanders, as he was one of the highest scoring kickers, and then he only got you 6 points. So that was, again, none of this would have mattered, but just rough. I didn't even realize Mike Evans got 2 points, and this wasn't just a 1 yard catch for 1 touchdown. It must have just been a 1 yard catch or something. Kind of wish I had looked that up because what the hell happened there? Considering the Bucks scored almost 40 points. Wow, that's very bad, very bad. Um, did manage to get a crap load of points out of Justin Jefferson, all in garbage time, but that doesn't matter. So there was at least one bright spot on the team, kind of. All right, and I forgot to take this off. Shoot, I never thought it would take me this long or this deep into the list, but now we finally have Ryan. Ryan made the fantastic pickup on the using the first or the whatever waiver slot he had last week to get the GOAT of Travis Fulgham. Again, the only Eagles wide receiver who could do anything, and got Ryan 20 points. So that's good. Ryan didn't even need to start a tight end to beat Dave this week because Fant was ruled out on like Saturday, and Ryan was like, well, screw that. I don't care, even though I have a healthy one on my bench. For some reason, he is still rostering the Cowboys defense, despite the fact that they are probably the worst defense in the league and have only had positive fantasy scoring points one time, and that was against the Giants, so that makes sense. Um, I hate to say it. I never thought I would say it, but Ryan might actually be good, and I don't know how to feel about that. Um, Aside from that, this is all meaningless, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. Um, so good job, Ryan. You're doing a hell of a lot better than I ever thought you would. Moving up next, which will put us in 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth place here overall. Six on the list would be Tom. Tom's getting screwed over again. Looks like Mostert got hurt, so I think he got on IR. He might be out for a while. So that's going to suck. So he's going to have Mostert and Chubb injured. Um, it does have Ronald Jones on the bench, who has looked good, but I still refuse to believe in it, even though it might be real. I don't know. Um, Benched Wentz, who again somehow continues to score a lot of fantasy points despite the Eagles sucking. He manages to get points, and even watching the games, I can't understand it. Um, Tom did get pretty lucky this week. He didn't need a lot to win, and thank God because he didn't score a lot. Literally every starter on his team underperformed, and this I haven't looked, but this could be very well be the first time that's ever happened this year in our league. That's just kind of fantastic. Um, Also, Ertz is out for a while, so that's probably a good excuse to drop him, which you might be a blessing in disguise, or not even in disguise, might just be a blessing. Moving up to fourth place in the league here would be Randall. Randall took advantage of a completely injured and beat up Jose this week to get a pretty easy win. Um, he got more injury trouble. Jonnu Smith got injured. He could be out for a while. He got injured at the beginning of this game. Didn't matter. Apparently Zeke doesn't know how to hold on to the football. Considering he fumbled twice and was benched for a large portion of that game. I think. I don't know. I didn't really watch too much of it once the Cardinals ran away with it. Um, Good thing you got Kyler Murray because it's starting to look like Josh Allen was the imposter of the MVP race for the early season because that's now two games in a row where he just looked absolutely terrible. Um, Julio's back, so that's good. Hopefully he can stay there for a while. And hopefully he doesn't get hurt again because that's a lot of points right there. Um, and I still give you props for picking up the gas man himself, Miles Gaskin. I wish I got him, have him everywhere else, and he's actually looking like a real good fantasy asset this year. Um, Good on you. All right, coming in at third, we have Neil, who was unintimidated by Arias' mind game attempts and managed to limp his way to a win. Um, and unfortunately, we have another week of pretending that the Bears are actually real contenders in the NFL when everybody knows they're not. Um, Neil, there are improvements this week. You're doing better. You only had one touchdown left on your bench this week compared to the 5 or 6 you've had the last 2 weeks. So that's good. Either that's good or your players are starting to suck. I'm not sure how, but either way, that's an improvement. Um, you kind of got carried this week. Actually, definitely got carried this week by Will Fuller, who is by some absolute miracle still healthy. I can't understand it. I think this actually might be a record for the longest time he's been healthy in a row. So hopefully that continues. I'm surprised you're still rostering Jake Elliott, the Eagles kicker, because once again the Eagles are bad at scoring, and when we do, um, Doug Peterson apparently had a mind meld or something with Mike Tomlin because now we just only go for two ever. We also adopted the Mike Tomlin strategy of go for two on your first touchdown, don't get it, and then have to go for two every other time to try to catch back up. So he's not getting to do too much there. All right, coming in at second, we've got Jose. Um, Jose's team's pretty beat up. He was actually only even kept in it this week by Tannehill getting a season high by about 10 points. Um, but it's okay. There may be better days. Someday, maybe in 2022 at this rate, he might get Christian McCaffrey back, which would be good. Um, it feels like that long for me too because I own him in another league, and it's rough. It's not fun. Looking at Jose's roster though, running back's actually not the problem. He has just a crapload of underperforming wide receivers here, and for some reason I can't begin to think of why. Um, He thought his best flex start would be Marvin Jones Jr. That's all I'm going to say about that. There's no rationalizing why that would work or what that. There's just no. I just don't understand it. Um, Looking at the bench, it's not too inspiring aside from Lockett, um, who will be coming back. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Jose. This might be the start of the slide. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Once again, coming in at the top of the list for the sixth freaking straight week in a row is Steve. Um, Steve was very lucky this week that I am terrible and once again did everything I could to lose and am an idiot. I will put on my. That's why I got the hat again. Um, Eventually, I believe it. It'll happen. I have to believe it that at some point Steve is going to have to come back down to earth. At some point, he's not going to get three people on his team to just completely blow up and exceed expectations. There will be a week when everybody just does flat average and he won't know what to do. And hopefully it's soon. It probably won't be. Um, because if it's not Wilson, it's Waller. If it's not him, it's Kamara. If it's not him, it's the freaking Steelers defense beating me. Um, so that's all I can hope for. I still think Steve rigged it somehow. I'm not sure how to prove that. Um, but apparently that's not necessary to say things are rigged. So, got you there, Steve. Um, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this reign of terror will end someday. Um, that's all I got, guys. I know this is a little bit shorter. Actually, shit, this one 17 minutes. Okay, so not that much shorter. I tried to go shorter, and it still ended up being a while. Um, that's all for this week. Waivers run tomorrow again. I don't think there's anybody worth it out there. I don't even know, but it's happening. So get those in. Good luck next week. Good luck to your actual teams. The Eagles may actually get a win. I think we play on Thursday against the Giants. So that's next week. I don't, but we may actually get a win this week. So cross your fingers, and then we could potentially be in the lead of the NFC East at 2-4-1. So that's where things are at this year. Um, so good luck. Good luck to your fantasy teams. As always, fuck you, Spanos.